Welcome in, everyone, to the team room here at the South Plains College Lady Texans and Texan Dome. There's actually basketballs being bounced and music being played, and guys and gals are working out. Coach Baten joins us this afternoon here through SBCTexans.com. Coach, welcome in. First time we've got to sit down and visit. We visited a little bit right after you got hired here at South Plains, and then the world went to a standstill, and we kind of did the whole shutdown thing. But welcome back. 2020, 2021 is here, and you've gotten a little bit of scrimmage work in, but the season starts in earnest here coming up in the next few days.
Yeah, no, it's been great. Honestly, things have been relatively normal for us in our little bubble with our group. We were able to practice most of the fall, sent the kids home before Thanksgiving, got them back right after the first of the year. So, that's a little longer break than we're used to, but overall, it's been good. We got scrimmage a couple times, so it's been really good.
Talk about the recruiting process a little bit, because obviously the old day, at least this year, sitting down on the couch with mom and dad, or sitting down at dinner with mom and dad, it had to be just a little different getting the roster filled for 2021.
Yeah, that part was a little different, especially for our American recruits. Normally, I would like to make a trip, sit down with them, just like you mentioned. So let's sit down, let's have a conversation, let's talk about what the expectations are, let's answer any questions. More than anything, just meet face to face. We didn't get to do that with as much international recruiting as we've done. I wouldn't get to do that anyway. So the recruiting wasn't really just all that much different than normal, other than the fact that I couldn't go see those kids that were here in the States.
Let's talk about the team, Coach. Give us kind of the round-robin view of the roster here for the Lady Texans in 2021.
Well, we've got a couple of returning players that were here last year. Grace Hunter is here, Kalia Smith is here, and then Shayla Mosberry's here. She's still coming back from injury. With some good fortune, we might get her back towards the end of the season. So we've got some familiar faces here. We brought over a handful of kids with us from Odessa. Jordan Brown, who started for us at Odessa last year, is with us. Diana Offit's been with us for a few years. She's back with us. Jimalyn Mahoney played for us last year. And then Denny Petrova wasn't here in the fall, just got here a couple days ago, and she's getting started with us. So that's our sophomore class. Bunch of talented freshmen. We've got Deborah Reese is in. She's a Brazilian kid. Eva Keeler from Poland. Just a nice mix of kids from different parts of the world, different parts of the country. And I think once they all kind of get playing and get figuring it out, it's going to get better.
Now, we talked a little bit about getting the opportunity to scrimmage. It's obviously a little different. There weren't a lot of teams that were out beating around the world here before the Christmas, Thanksgiving break, if you will. But at least you got on the court a little bit, got to throw a few things together. Talk a little bit about how this fall's gone for you and what you're seeing off the club.
The fall was different, and it's a different kind of situation for us than what we normally have. Because normally we would use the month of November to kind of figure out who we're going to be. You look at different personnel groups, you look at different matchups, you see who's going to play better in what position and how they handle different situations. We didn't get that. We scrimmaged twice. We scrimmaged once in early October after we'd been practicing for about 2 weeks. So you don't really get a lot out of that. That just gives the kids something to kind of look forward to. We had a very productive scrimmage at Seward in November, and I felt like that was an opportunity for us to really kind of see who we are and where we're at, those kind of things. But we didn't get to play anywhere near as much as we would have liked to. So this is still going to be a little bit of a learning process as we get started, just kind of what the rotation is going to look like, who's going to fit where, what group matchups work out best, different things like that we didn't get to do in the fall. So that'll be a little bit different, and it may be a little bit of a learning curve here early.
When you get ready to go here for the season, obviously it's all a little different. It's still working on scheduling, not real sure what everything looks like yet, how we're going to handle facilities, how we're going to handle these things. But let's talk about the players. How are they responding? I mean, obviously you've got protocols in place through the NJCAA and through South Plains College, but I got to think players who want to play are going to do what it takes to get it done.
They're surprisingly doing very well. They go through the protocol every day. They get the temperature checked every day. They wear their masks when they're on campus. They wear their masks in the building unless they're on the floor or in the locker room. They've embraced those things because they understand. All of these kids, at least the sophomores, understand what it's like to lose your season the way we did at Odessa and the way South Plains did last year. We're getting ready to play in the national tournament, and it gets taken away, and none of these kids want that. They want the opportunity to compete this year. They want an opportunity to play all the way through and see how it goes. So when you have some of those players in leadership type roles that are kind of setting a good example for the younger players, I think it's been pretty good. I think they've done a good job of just adjusting to what life is like right now.
The battle cry, I've got to think, for almost anybody who was set to play in that national tournament field last year has to be unfinished business. Boy, you know, you do well in a good WJCAC conference, you play well in a Region 5 tournament, you end up getting a bid to the national tournament, and all of a sudden there it goes. There's got to be an unfinished business feeling, especially for the sophomores and the coaches out there that were looking at making that trip to Lubbock in 2020.
I know from our perspective, it's a little bit that way. You feel like you didn't get to see it through. And with so many kids that were in that position, I mean, we're talking about 7 kids on our roster that were in that position a year ago. There is a little bit of that. We don't really necessarily talk about it, but I think it's there. I know I feel it, and just the vibe I get from our kids, they're ready to go. This is different for them. They're used to, okay, we'll practice for a while, then we'll scrimmage a little bit, then we're playing. Well, this has been practice, one scrimmage, practice, and you know, as much as coaches like practice, kids don't love practice that way. So I think they're just excited to get started.
Well, the old adage among football coaches is you get tired of beating on each other at the end of the day, and I got to think it's the same way with basketball coaches. You know, yeah, it's great to get as much practice in as we possibly can, but eventually you want to put yourself out there and test yourself against somebody else.
And I think that's where they're at. I do, and I think we're there. I think we want to see where we're at. You know, there's no greater evaluation than competition. We go play somebody, and we can see the things that we need to correct, the things that expose themselves that maybe don't always expose themselves in practice, and gives us the things we need to do to improve.
Talk about the beginning of the season. What do you got on the schedule coming up here in the short term before we get to conference play? I guess in February is when we'll finally get to the conference.
We're going to open on the road in Oklahoma. We're playing Northeast Oklahoma A&M. They've been projected somewhere in the top 10 in the preseason polls. That's who we'll open with, and then we'll play the next night at Connors State, who's got a very competitive program. We'll come home for a few days, and then we'll go on the road to East Texas. We'll play Trinity Valley on the road in their place, and then we'll go play Kilgore at their place, and then open up February 1st with Midland. I think it's here.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure, but I think it's here.
Little road battle testing early.
Yeah,
I've
no,
heard.
I mean, we like to do that. We like to see where we're at when we put these kids in tough spots and see how they respond. And I think that'll help us later to challenge our kids early.
Yeah, I got to think it's really, coaches try to schedule tough games. You'll pick up a few here and there that aren't quite the opponent that you want them to be. But boy, when you're only talking about 4 non-con games before you get going, you got to make them 4 count.
That's right.
Coach, save us out of time for this one. Any final thoughts for us before we let you get back to the club and get ready to go?
Not really. I just think, like I said, we're excited to get started, see who we are, and see where we can go.
Coach, I'm excited about it. It's time to get the dome fired up again and get lights, camera, and action and all that stuff.
I'm looking forward to being on the other sideline here for a while.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Thanks for taking time out to visit with us. Best of luck to yourself and Lady Texans. We'll see you coming up.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
For South Plains College, online at sbctexans.com and KLVT Levelland, KLVTradio.com, I'm Michael Wiiest.